Mbappe! Oh, forward by Canate! Colin Argentina! Champions of
Super Bowl 59.
Over the past 12 years, FIFA has repeatedly altered the way fans experience the biggest competition in sport. In 2018, they introduced VAR. In 2022, they moved the tournament to November and December, forcing domestic leagues across the world to shut down mid-season. And now, they're going even further. The 2026 FIFA World Cup will expand from 32 teams to 48. The number of matches will jump from 64 to 104. Fans will pay more for tickets because FIFA is introducing dynamic pricing, meaning the more in demand a match is, the more expensive tickets will become.
I think right now the cheapest one resale is $800 and it's standing room only.
Tickets on sale, Foxborough, Mass. $761 for nosebleed seats? And that was the day that they went on sale.
FIFA's President Gianni Infantino stands to oversee the most profitable World Cup in history. But even then, there's one change almost nobody is talking about. A change borrowed directly from American football. A change that could quietly make FIFA billions of dollars. And that's hydration breaks. In this World Cup, the game will be broken into 4 quarters instead of 2 halves under the guise of a 3-minute hydration break. Not because the players demanded these breaks, but because FIFA's president, Gianni Infantino, found the perfect excuse to introduce hydration breaks so he could run more ads, more sponsorship exposure, and increase broadcast revenue across all 104 games in the 2026 FIFA World Cup.
Today I feel gay.
Across the world, referees blew their whistles and games were stopped at the 22-minute mark in each half. The pause was to simulate a new 3-minute hydration break that will be used in the World Cup this summer. A fundamental change that means that soccer is no longer a game of 2 halves, but 4 quarters.
That's the real reason for these hydration breaks. It's all a money grab, an opportunity for FIFA to copy the NFL and the Super Bowl and increase its revenue through ads. For 96 years, the World Cup was defined by its continuous 45-minute flow. In Qatar, FIFA generated $5.7 billion, with $1.4 billion coming from advertising across the 64 matches played in that World Cup. That's a lot of money, but the game's rhythm remained intact. But for 2026, the strategy has changed. And to truly understand why the rhythm of 45-minute halves has been broken into a game of 4 quarters, you need to look at the model of America's National Football League.
What would you say is bigger, the Super Bowl or the World Cup final?
The Super Bowl. You know, the fan base is bigger.
It's the gladiator sport of the current day.
The Super Bowl actually is the biggest spectacle, at least television-wise, in the world.
In terms of viewership, football dwarfs American football. The 2022 FIFA World Cup final attracted 1.5 billion viewers worldwide, while Super Bowl 59 between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles drew 129 million people. That's barely 8% of the World Cup finals audience. But when it comes to money, the NFL is in a completely different league. The NFL generated a record $24 billion from a single 285-game season. By comparison, the 2022 World Cup and this season's entire UEFA Champions League generated a combined $9 billion. Despite having the world's biggest audience, football makes a fraction of the money American football does. And that's why FIFA is starting to borrow from the NFL's playbook. Hydration breaks aren't just about player welfare. They're about creating advertising inventory. For decades, football's biggest selling point was simple: 45 uninterrupted minutes of action. No commercial breaks, no timeouts, no stoppages designed for sponsors. The game belonged to the fans. But now FIFA sees those uninterrupted periods as untapped revenue. During the 2026 World Cup, those 3-minute hydration breaks will give FIFA something they've never really had before: guaranteed advertising slots in the middle of matches. Billions of viewers won't just be watching football, they'll be watching commercials FIFA have sold to the highest bidder. The NFL turned timeouts and 2-minute warnings into a money printing machine, and FIFA looked at the billions that model generated and decided they want a piece of it as well.
The NFL is sponsored by Intuit TurboTax.
For example, if a game hasn't stopped 9 minutes into each half, the refs are instructed to pause play for a TV timeout. The instructions come from a dedicated coordinator on the sidelines who signals to the referees when the TV stations want to pause the game to show commercials. There is also the 2-minute warning.
And we're going to come to the 2-minute warning.
2-minute warning. 2 minutes to go.
It's a guaranteed break 2 minutes before each half ends, which is when the game is at its most tense and allows TV networks to sell high-stakes ad slots for higher prices.
Can you play in the NFL? No. But with the Old Spice NFL collection, can you smell like you play in the NFL? Yes.
All of this is necessary for the NFL in order to show the mandatory 20 ad breaks per game that are written in their contracts with the broadcasters.
The problem is, every new advertising opportunity comes at the expense of what made football unique in the first place. FIFA isn't changing the game because fans demanded it. They're changing it because uninterrupted football isn't as profitable as interrupted football. And once governing bodies like UEFA and even the FA, who govern the English Premier League, discover that they can make more money by stopping the game, it's going to be very difficult to convince them to stop. To fully understand why Gianni Infantino has been willing to fundamentally reshape football's biggest tournament, you first need to understand FIFA's business model. Unlike the NFL or the UEFA Champions League, which generate revenue every single year, the FIFA World Cup only happens once every 4 years. That rarity makes it so valuable. The 2010 World Cup in South Africa generated $4.2 billion in revenue. Brazil 2014 brought in $5.7 billion, Russia 2018 generated $6.7 billion, and Qatar 2022 produced a record staggering $7.5 billion in revenue. Now, FIFA expects the 2026 World Cup in the United States to generate roughly $13 billion in revenue. That's a 72% increase in a single tournament. The reason is simple. FIFA doesn't sell football matches. It sells scarcity. Every 4 years, broadcasters are handed one piece of content billions of people cannot afford to miss. Before the tournament begins, FIFA effectively puts the World Cup up for auction, selling the broadcasting rights country by country to the highest bidder. In the United Kingdom, for example, the rights are shared between the BBC and ITV. And here's the crucial part. This year's broadcasters aren't just buying 64 matches like they did in Qatar. They're buying 104.
World Cup, a year from now, 16 cities, 104 games, 48 teams, 3 countries, USA, Mexico, and Canada already in. Obviously, we're hosting. Was this part of the plan in expanding it to give some of these nations the opportunity to have that moment, to have that celebration?
Well, 100%. The World Cup next year, the FIFA World Cup, Canada, Mexico, United States. As you said, 104 matches, 104 Super Bowls, actually, in 1 month here.
For FIFA, that's the genius of the expansion. More matches mean more inventory. More inventory means more broadcasting revenue, more sponsorship opportunities, and more advertising slots to sell. What looks like FIFA giving more football to the fans is in reality FIFA creating more product to sell. And when the world's most valuable sporting event suddenly has 40 extra matches attached to it, broadcasters aren't charged less. In fact, they're charged more. That's why the 2026 World Cup isn't just bigger than any other World Cup before. It's the most lucrative business project FIFA has ever created. As I said earlier, FIFA expects to generate a record-breaking $13 billion from the 2026 World Cup. And the biggest contributor is in ticket sales, regardless of the ridiculous pricing at this year's World Cup. Nor is it sponsors, but in fact, it's television. Broadcasting rights alone are expected to bring in between $6.5 and $7 billion. Put simply, broadcasting revenue is the money paid by television networks across 175 countries for the privilege to show the tournament to their audiences. In the United Kingdom, it's the BBC and ITV. In the Middle East and North America, it's beIN Sports. And in the United States, it's Fox Sports. But here's the part that puts FIFA's business model into perspective. The expanded World Cup will feature 104 matches. If FIFA generates roughly $6.8 billion from broadcasting rights, that's over $65 million in television revenue attached to every single game before a ticket is sold, a sponsor is signed, or players step on the pitch. Think about that for a second. A group stage match between 2 nations you might never watch is worth more than $60 million to FIFA. And that's why FIFA keeps adding more games. And when each game carries more than $60 million worth of television value, suddenly expanding the tournament starts to make more business sense. The second revenue stream is marketing rights, a category expected to generate roughly $3.2 billion for FIFA. At first glance, it sounds fairly straightforward. Companies pay FIFA for the right to associate themselves with the biggest sporting event on the planet. But what's actually happening is far more interesting. For decades, football has had a problem sports like American football never did. There simply weren't enough commercial breaks. The game flows constantly for 45 minutes at a time, which means sponsors traditionally had to rely on pitch-side advertising boards, t-shirt sponsors, and press conferences to get their products in front of the fans. That limitation became painfully obvious during the 2020 UEFA Euros. Cristiano Ronaldo famously pushed 2 Coca-Cola bottles out of view and encouraged people to drink water instead.
Did you see that thing with Ronaldo where they put a Coca-Cola in front of him and he pushed to the side and he picked up a bottle of water, said agua, and like he only drinks water? Coca-Cola's sales tanked. It cost their market share something like $1 billion. Just him doing that. $4 billion by saying water.
Days later, Paul Pogba removed a bottle of Heineken from his press conference following France's 1-0 win over Germany. Whether those incidents directly caused financial losses is debated, but they exposed a major weakness in FIFA's sponsorship model. Brands were paying billions for visibility that they couldn't fully control. And now hydration breaks changes all of that. For the first time in football history, sponsors aren't just buying advertising space around the game. They're buying time inside the game. With mandatory hydration breaks scheduled for each half, broadcasters suddenly have short windows where advertisements can be inserted while the game is still in progress. Instead of waiting for halftime, companies can now place their products directly in front of the viewers during the action itself. This might sound like a small change, but for FIFA, it's worth billions, because every hydration break creates something football traditionally lacked: a new advertising slot. And when billions of people are watching, even 10 or 20 seconds of additional advertising inventory becomes incredibly valuable. The hydration breaks aren't really about stopping the game. They are about turning minutes that were previously worthless into minutes that can be sold. Now that you understand how FIFA could turn something as ordinary as a hydration break into a money-making machine, you're probably still wondering, where does all the money actually go? FIFA has already revealed exactly how it plans to distribute this money. And the numbers are staggering. A total of $871 million will be paid out to the 48 nations competing at this year's FIFA World Cup. Before a single ball is kicked, every nation automatically receives $2.5 million to help cover tournament preparations. And simply for qualifying for the group stage, that's worth another $10 million. So, before even stepping onto the pitch, every nation at the World Cup is guaranteed $12.5 million. But this is where things get really interesting. For the first time in World Cup history, FIFA has introduced a round of 32. Officially, it's there because the tournament has expanded from 32 teams to 48. But unofficially, it creates another knockout round for broadcasters to televise, sponsors to advertise around, and FIFA to monetize.
Well, this is how the new World Cup format will look. There will now be 48 teams rather than the old format of 32. The 48 teams will be split into 12 groups, up from 8. The top 2 teams in each of the groups and 8 best third-place teams will qualify for the round of 32. It's a longer route for the eventual winners of the World Cup, with a total of 8 matches required to win the tournament. The total number of matches played in the tournament will increase from 64 to 104, and the 2026 World Cup final is set to take place on Sunday, July the 19th.
The qualification for that newly created round comes with an $11 million payday, meaning a nation eliminated in the round of 32 could walk away with $23.5 million in prize money. Reach the round of 16, that figure rises to $38.5 million. Make the quarterfinal, the remaining 8 nations stand to earn $57.5 million. And lose in the semifinals, you will take home at least $84.5 million. Even defeat on the biggest stage in the world comes with an enormous reward. The nation that finishes 4th receives $84.5 million. 3rd place earns $86.5 million. And runners-up in the World Cup final collect $90.5 million. And the team that lifts the most prestigious trophy in sport will earn an astonishing $170.5 million. Let that sink in. Winning the World Cup is no longer about immortality. It's worth more than $100 million.
And it's been agreed that prize money for the World Cup in the USA, Canada and Mexico in the summer is going to go up 50% compared to the prize money that was on offer at the last World Cup in Qatar in 2022. So it's not just ticket prices that are going up, the prize money on offer is going up as well. Now, if you win the World Cup, apart from getting the trophy and apart from the fact that you'll be able to call yourself world champions for 4 years, FIFA will also pay you $50 million.
But here's where things get even more fascinating. FIFA doesn't decide what each nation does with the money afterwards. Once the prize money reaches each nation's football association, it's entirely up to them how it's distributed. Some federations reward players generously, others invest heavily into grassroots football, and some have faced criticism on how little actually reaches the squad that earned it, which raises the question, should players even be paid for representing their country? French superstar Kylian Mbappe doesn't think so. Despite reportedly earning 600,000 euros per week at club level with Real Madrid, Mbappe has previously argued that players shouldn't expect compensation for playing at the World Cup, because in his view, representing your country is already the biggest honor football can offer. But in a tournament generating billions of dollars, it's hard not to ask, if everyone else is getting richer from the World Cup, should the players be the only ones expected to play purely for pride?
FIFA is facing calls to answer questions now after allegations of artificially inflating prices and misleading fans over the sale of tickets for the upcoming World Cup. The Attorneys General of New York and New Jersey have officially launched an investigation into FIFA's practices. This is all coming a little over 2 weeks before the tournament kicks off. New Jersey's top prosecutor called FIFA's ticketing a gauntlet of confusion, fake scarcity, and impossibly high prices.
This is the World Cup of fraud situations, but you've got one of the world's top referees told he can't enter the United States, sent back home, accused of having links with suspected terror organizations. We have Mexico having to change their Iran having to change their training base here to Mexico. We have fans and journalists from a number of countries who aren't able to attend this World Cup because of travel bans or visa restrictions. You yourself have said in the past how important it is to have freedom of movement at a global event like this. You've said how inclusive it is, how welcoming it is as well. Are you embarrassed, therefore, by what actually has come to pass? And do you have to accept that you've lost some control of your own tournament here?